what has been our experience with growth as a driving force here in Peterborough?
I think what you've seen in Peterborough is you know, the development of the downtown core, and then as I explained, you know, we've got these master plan subdivisions that have developed around the city. And now as we start to come back to this question of intensification, I think that's where our challenge lies in Peterborough. And from what you see around, what I see around the downtown core, you don't see a lot of density, you don't see a lot of condo development or any condo development in and around the downtown core. I think part of the challenge is the notion of where this stuff might go, where it might be located. You've got certainly a strong heritage character to the downtown and a strong desire to preserve that character. So I think one of the biggest challenges is to look at how we intensify either the immediate core or the areas around the core. And part of the limitations around that, I think, are in addition to the heritage, is the brownfield sites that we have around the downtown core. And again, a lot of these communities, a lot of these neighborhoods that we're even investing in urban design and streetscape design in, but this notion of gentle intensification or gentle density is something that I think all developers wrestle with in terms of return on investment. So you see the trade-off when you reach your balanced density in the plan, and the developers say we need to go higher. So I think part of what the challenge we have here in Peterborough going forward is to, for the intensification targets, not including the greenfield development, is we really need to come to terms with what the community wants and what these acceptable densities are. I think that's going to be the challenges going forward. And speaking as well of the suburbs, I mean, we have similar situations where you've got suburban development that's meeting the growth targets of the places to grow in terms of the mix of density types. You've also got different constraints that are being faced by nature preservation in terms of the constraints environmentally around these areas, as well as broader infrastructure network systems like major roadway corridors that have been the topic of much discussion in Peterborough. So those are placing constraints on the greenfield targets, and so the challenge is really going to be what is going to give in terms of allowing the growth to take place. Are we going to see more intensification, or are we going to see more suburban development, either through annexation or through some of these developments, perhaps exploring other avenues for infrastructure development?
So, I mean, I think the experience of Peterborough with respect to growth patterns is really, is one of those things that really differentiates us from the experience of Toronto. So, in the film, they were talking a lot about how transit hubs had been really central to growth patterns in Toronto. And I think in Peterborough, in a city that's experienced, low to no growth situations for a few years, we don't have multiple transit hubs in our community, and so that kind of transportation system doesn't really drive growth in the same way in our community, which isn't to say it couldn't, but it would require, like a more robust transit system would require sustained political investment, and that's something that's hard in a smaller community. So yeah, I think our experience of development has been a little bit different, and the things that drive density have been different in Peterborough. There are some interesting conversations, though, that I think that I witness or engage in locally around densification and intensification, especially in the downtown core. And I think an example that's been, in my mind, quite a successful one is Hunter Street, where through development that corridor went from an appliance store predominated corridor to a cafe district that now sees some mid-rise development and intensification in the downtown core, and that space in terms of living for people who have a range of incomes is perceived of as more desirable. But I do feel like in terms of intensification in any city, and in Peterborough as well, That conversation really does need to be one that's equity focused, and I think Bethune Street is an interesting example of that. So a lot of the conversation around Bethune Street has been changes in density with the intention of revitalizing the corridor and making it a more livable and desirable space, and also intensifying that space. And there are people who may not have a lot of political capital who currently live in that space, and the kinds of advantages they might experience through investments in public spaces in their neighborhood are quite significant, but that intensification needs to also meet their needs and not drive them out of that neighborhood or price them out of that neighborhood, which is the experience of lots of people in neighborhoods like Parkdale and Toronto. And so I think when we're having those conversations and looking to the downtown as a site of intensification, because intensification in Peterborough's suburbs is difficult, because of absence of transit among other reasons, I think that's sort of a perspective that's important for our community.
Just coming back to the question of what has been the Peterborough experience, has growth been a driver? I don't think it has, and thank goodness for that. One of the things about being an architect working across the province for municipalities is we get to experience what those municipalities feel like to be in and to live in certain aspects. So one of our main clients right now is the city of Barrie, and growth in the 80s drove the city of Barrie, and in the 70s, and they're paying for it now. It's a lot of sprawl, and at last night's council meeting there was discussion about 4 new 22-story towers just outside of the downtown, so they're looking at intensification as well. But Peterborough was saved from a lot of that, and now is seen as desirable. When we opened our practice in Peterborough in 1995, everybody moving a successful Toronto practice to Peterborough, everybody thought we were crazy, and now in 2007, hiring young creative types, some of whom are in the room tonight, is a much easier prospect, because Peterborough is a desirable city. It has life to it. To Brianna's earlier comments about the health, what people define as health, and the younger generations are looking at Peterborough as a healthy place to live. If they can come and start out of university and live in the downtown core and possibly have a house or an apartment to start. So I think that the fact that growth has not been a driver has been a good thing. Unfortunately, Peterborough has followed the societal norm. So if the box stores were popular, then it meant that Peterborough needed some, just not as many. But I think Peterborough is in a position that a lot of municipalities are going to find envious, because we're in a better spot to start looking at intensification and densification than other communities.